The Young Turks brought to you by Carbonite Online Backup.
Paul Ryan's budget and his idea to reform Medicare, which meant essentially end Medicare, turned it into a voucher system where the amount of money didn't increase with the rise of health care costs, so pay it yourself. Americans responded to that and turned Jane Corwin in the 26th District of New York into a loser as a Republican, getting 42% of the vote when Chris Lee had gotten over 70% of the vote when he won the seat. Republican district, but Jane Corwin couldn't win it. So here we are, Fox and Friends, and they begin the misrepresentation suggesting that indeed what happened here is that Obama's, the Affordable Care Act, Barack Obama's health care plan, actually cut $500 gazillion from Medicare, and the Democrats are cutting it from Medicare, when that plan, as everybody has said, was cutting sort of wasteful expenditures which would actually lower health care costs.
Democrats have already voted to cut Medicare. They did it under Obamacare. They cut $500 billion from Medicare Advantage. That's how they're going to...
That was then. This is now.
But you know what that's going to do, Steve? It's going to stop reimbursements to doctors and to hospitals, and then doctors are going to stop treating Medicare patients.
That's right. That's what's going to happen. Doctors are just going to stop treating Medicare patients. Well, at least she broke it down for us. Okay. It's just an outright lie. It was a lie that existed back then, and now the lie is getting repeated by people like Andrea Tanteros. I'm going to have to look down and get her name every single time because I can never remember it, and I don't care, although I do enjoy looking at her. So that's what happens here the first time. Now they get into it a little bit more.
Guess what else Democrats did? They put in place a rationing panel. Juan, 15 unelected bureaucrats that can't be sued. This is Obama's rationing board, and they get to make decisions on end-of-life care. It's just like the National Institute for Clinical Excellence, which isn't so nice, that's an oxymoron, in England, which limits drugs.
I'm so disappointed.
It keeps costs down.
I'm so disappointed
Juan,
this morning.
Democrats even are against this rationing panel.
Let me say, this comes from the people who were pushing death panels.
This
comes from the people who...
It is! It is just like the death panels. I forgot about the death panels. They have the death panel. The National Institute for Clinical Institute. I wrote that down, but that can't be what she said. But it might as well be the National Institute for Clinical Institutes. But they trot out these agencies as if to tell us, to send a message. All they're doing there when they say the National Institute for Clinical Institutes and Institutions, all they're saying is bureaucracy. Look at the Democrats with this. I just made something up. I pulled one name out that's in there. It's just like she mentions England and their socialism and the National Institutes for Institutional Institutions. And there you go. That's what it's going to be. And they're going to ration care and they're going to kill your grandmother.
And now we have a proposition here from Paul Ryan, who I acknowledge has taken a necessary first step because we've got to deal with entitlements if we want to get the deficit under control. You're criticizing Paul Ryan, Juan Williams, and I like that. Why do we give people credit for going first? Like later in this debate, and often, there's going to be criticism from Steve Doocy, which Juan Williams is going to acknowledge, that Democrats are now being silent on the Medicare issue as far as proposing a plan of their own because Republicans have self-destructed about it, and it cost them a seat in the 26th District of New York. So Democrats now see an advantage to just let Republicans sort of dig their own ditch on Medicare. And that's political. And that is a political tactic. So they're going to criticize the Democrats for that, just for playing politics with Medicare. But they're going to praise Paul Ryan for being bold and innovative with his plan, as if there was nothing political in coming out with his plan first.
But the Democrats so far, they realize it's to our political advantage.
Correct.
So let's go ahead and put this on the Republicans. They're trying to get rid of, they're trying to throw grandma under the bus.
Well, I think
to their advantage.
I think that clearly what happened in that New York State congressional race proved that it is to the Democrats' advantage. The Democrats can make hay
ignore
on
the
it.
problems.
But I think that clearly Medicare was the issue, Steve. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But I think the second...
Now, you couldn't really hear the end of that conversation, but I thought it was fascinating. Juan Williams correctly, as every astute political analyst in the country will say, and Juan Williams is correct, says that no question Medicare was the significant issue in that New York 26 race. There seems to be no doubt about that. The Democrat, Kathy Hochul, had one message: Medicare, Medicare, Medicare. So then he says, I think clearly that's the issue. He corrects Steve Doocy. And Juan Williams did well in this debate, largely, except for a couple of ridiculous premises where you have to praise Republicans for no reason. And then Andrea chimes in with, why? Why do we have to accept that as the premise? That a seat that went to Chris Lee, I'm not going to do it again. A seat that, just a little bit, just one button. A seat that went to Chris Lee with 70% of the vote, and then Jane Corwin gets 42% of the vote. Why could that have been? It had to be something else. It can't possibly be Medicare. And so she says, why? Why does it have to be Medicare? They won't let it go. They refuse to believe it's Medicare. They are going to stick with that Paul Ryan plan. They are going to ride it and ride it and ride it. And I love it. Keep riding it. You sound like an idiot.
Eventually, you're going to have a computer disaster, your computer is going to crash, and you're going to lose all your files. But with Carbonite Online Backup, you don't have to worry about any of that because it automatically saves your files off-site. You can access all of your backed up files from any computer remotely, or if you want, you can also access your files through an iPhone or BlackBerry with Carbonite's awesome free app. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac. Think about it, that's less than $5 a month. Get a free trial at Carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.